Hello everyone, it's your girl Elizabeth here again with tips on dating and relationships. Today I'll start a series titled Questions to Ask During Courtship. The Bible says in Amos 3:3, can two work together except they agree? The answer to that question is a capital no. So today, I'm just going to start with telling you some of the questions I believe you should ask when you're dating someone with the intention of settling down with that person. And to ask those questions, you need to ensure that firstly, the atmosphere is right and the timing is right. You can ask the right question, but if you ask it at the wrong time, you get the wrong answer. And when you're asking the question, have an open mind. Don't be blinded by infatuation or a call is coming in. Yes, I was saying don't be blinded by infatuation. Be open-minded, and whatever answer comes, take your time to evaluate those answers and then make your decisions. Okay, so first thing is, when you're asking, knowledge is power. So ensure that you have the right question to hand to test the person you're dating's intellect, their intelligence, their knowledge, their mental capability, and things like that. And another thing, when you're asking those questions, prayerfully ask God to guide you so that you get the right answer. Because trust me, some people are very, very good at telling lies and being manipulative. So if you ask a question and the way they answer you, you are not sure, you can come back with the same question in another way so that you get the right answer you want. And even when you get your answers, try and check it with all the facts and figures, things that you know about that person, to come up with your conclusion. So the first thing is, ask about their background. What do you know about your intended spouse's background? Are they from a broken home? Are they from a happy home? These things affect the way we perceive and interact with people. If you grow up in a home that is lively, bubbly, everybody is happy, that's what you expect from other people. However, if your partner is from a broken home, they might have been affected. They would have been affected, definitely, with what they saw growing up. And unless they make a conscious effort to live above what they saw growing up, it will definitely affect their relationship. So find out, your intended spouse, have they actually learned from the mistakes of their parents, mistakes of their past, or they are still living such a life, or their life is a reflection of what they saw growing up. You need to make up your mind. Can you deal with that? Is that what you want in your relationship going forward? So you need to check that before you go ahead with your relationship. Another question you need to ask is my intended spouse parent, are they leaders? Are they politically minded people? If there are people like that, then they might be very domineering, because that's what they've seen growing up. That's what they've perceived growing up. And are you ready to be trampled upon? Are you ready to be the second person in the relationship? Can you cope with the qualities, leadership qualities in your spouse? And if you are the one that had parents that are politically minded and they've instilled that in you, are you willing? Is your partner willing to accept you the way you are? you need to think about that and ensure that you guys have resolved that before you go ahead, in your relationship, as you go on in your relationship. And another thing is, in relation to background, your intended spouse, do they have God-fearing parents? Do you have God-fearing parents? Have you been brought up in a Christian environment? These things will influence you. If you're someone that every morning you guys wake up, let's say 6 a.m., my dad will wake us up 6 a.m. to pray without failing. As a child, it was like, oh, it's an hassle, but it became an habit. And we have to wake up every morning to pray, even in my current home. So if you grew up with such a background, and your spouse or intended spouse do not have the same background, there might be a problem. So you need to resolve that in your relationship. Another thing I've got here is, how do your intended spouse parent, how do they treat each other? Do they respect each other? Do they value each other's opinions? My parents, my dad is a very loving person. He dotes on my mom. I mean, to the extent that sometimes the children, we envy her a lot. He treats her so well. And my mom, on the other hand, respects my dad so much. And that's all I expected in my own relationship. But if you come from a home that is happy, bubbly, and your intended spouse come from a home that is, they don't really share jokes, they are always serious, they don't respect one another, and you guys come together, that's all that person knows, except they make a conscious effort to the contrary. So you need to iron that out and see and be sure that you're willing to live with such in your future home. Because all you would think is, oh, that's the norm, that's how everything is meant to be. But trust me, you cannot give what you don't have. If your intended spouse have not seen that showcased to them or modeled to them, a happy home model to them, they cannot give that to you. So you need to be sure, are you willing to, go ahead, or is that the right person for you? Just ask the question, find out. And you never can tell. They might be willing to change. Over time, see that their background has not affected them negatively before you come together as a couple. Okay. Are you strong-minded? Is your mom a strong-minded person, an independent woman? And as a lady, are you already like your mom? Do you behave like your mom? You have your own mindset. Nobody can control you. Is your husband or the person you're intending to spend the rest of your life with, is he ready to accept that? Is he willing to let you be who you are? And if you're a guy, are you intimidated by an independent lady? Are you intimidated by someone that is, strong-minded? Or you can cope with that? Assess that before, and discuss it as you go along in your relationship. If it's something you can, deal with, then that's fine. Again, I've got here, what are the family values that your intended spouse have? There must be some things your family hold dear. For instance, for some families, they like coming together for special occasion. That's what we do in my family. Birthdays, weddings, anniversaries. We love coming together. Discuss that, with your spouse. How does it feel about you having your family around for family occasion, your extended family members? It might be something that they don't even want. They just want it to be just the nuclear family. It's me and my husband or me and my spouse. So you need to clarify that and make sure that you guys are on the same page. Simple things like, going on holidays. For instance, my husband is happy staying at home 24/7. Once he goes to work, for him, home is his safe heaven. He is not really too keen about traveling. So the person you're dating, how do they value? What do they see? How do they see holiday traveling? Or maybe for them, the holiday is staying at home, enjoying a quiet time in the house. You need to iron that out and come to a compromise. These are some of the things in one's background that can influence us. Another thing is, are you guys from the same race and culture? Different cultures have different things they hold there, and you need to ensure that you won't have a clash in your culture, in your race, things you hold there in your culture. Ensure that you guys can harmonize this, discuss it, and things that you think you can't compromise on, you need to discuss it and make sure that you reach an agreement as you go along in your relationship. Dating or courtship time is a time for interview and not for intercourse. So try and spend time relating, spend time discussing, knowing more about each other's background as you go along in your relationship. I'll be having a part two of this, where we'll talk about all the things that can affect questions you need to ask during courtship, that will guide you as to know what kind of questions you need to ask your spouse or your intended spouse during courtship. Till I come your way next time, stay empowered. Thank you and bye for now.